As a young boy, John Urschel would amuse himself for hours solving puzzles and breezing through math workbooks. By the time he was 13, he had audited a college-level calculus class. He was also no slouch on the football field. A two-star prospect out of high school in western New York State, Urschel was a low-priority recruit to Penn State. He worked his way into the starting lineup and later became a two-time All-Big Ten offensive lineman. He won the Sullivan Award, given to the most outstanding amateur athlete in the country, as well as the Campbell Trophy, recognizing college football's top scholar athlete. Urschel completed his bachelor's and master's degrees in mathematics while at Penn State. He even taught a couple of math classes while playing for the Nittany Lions. After college, he was drafted in the 5th round of the 2014 NFL Draft and signed a 4-year, $2.4 million contract with the Baltimore Ravens. Urschel loves football, the fury, the camaraderie, the adrenaline rush, and he enjoyed knowing that he was playing at the highest level. But he loves math, too, and he wanted to pursue that passion as far as his ability would take him. Urschel got a taste of how difficult it could be to do both when he suffered a concussion during his second NFL training camp. The brain injury kept him off the field for a couple of weeks. It took longer than that for him to regain the ability to do math again. Still, the following spring he passed the qualifying exam that allowed him to enroll in a full-time doctorate program in mathematics at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Penguin Press. It was a great achievement, but it also meant he had two demanding jobs. By his third year in the league, he was spending more time taking stock of his life. What did his future hold? How long would his body hold up to the brutality of football? How good a mathematician could he be if he devoted himself to it full-time? He was fine financially. He earned $1.6 million over his first 3 years in the league while driving a Nissan Versa and living with a roommate. His bigger expenses were math books and coffee. He estimates that he lived on less than $25,000 a year. In the end, he retired from the NFL at age 26 to pursue becoming a mathematician. Urschel, now 27, has about 1 year left before he earns his doctorate at MIT. After that, he has his sights set on a career in academia. Urschel chronicled his uncommon journey in a new memoir, Mind and Matter, A Life in Math and Football, co-written with his wife, Louisa Thomas. The undefeated recently talked to the former lineman about his new book, his view of college sports, the safety of football and his twin careers. This interview has been edited and condensed for clarity. Why did you write this book? I really wanted to write something that conveyed mathematics in a very beautiful light. The publisher kept pushing me to put more of myself in it. At the end of the day, the final product is a memoir that also describes my relationship with both mathematics and football. What do you hope people take away from it? I hope they take away a number of things, not least of which is that it's okay to have multiple interests, it's okay to have multiple passions, that you don't just have to be one thing. Also, I hope people take away a newfound appreciation of mathematics that might feel a little different than sort of what they experienced in school. Who do you see as your primary audience for the book? First of all, I would really like to reach middle school to high school kids who may be athletes but might have some interest in academics and STEM, science, technology, engineering and math, in some sense. Second, I would say anyone who simply enjoys football and math, because there's a lot of both in this book. Related stories. Did you ever feel pigeonholed coming up? Yes, I think I was, but I really didn't pay too much attention to it. These things might bother some people, but I just usually viewed these things as an opportunity to change people's mindsets. Do you think there was some skepticism because you're a football player, that this guy can't be so good at math? There initially was some skepticism, which I think was healthy. I completely understand why there was skepticism, and I think it was a reasonable thing. Do you consider yourself a genius? No. What is a genius anyway? I don't know, and that's why I don't really consider myself one. Listen, I'm someone who is very good at math. I've been very good at math ever since I was little. A lot of hard work has gone into me being at the place where I am in mathematics today. With respect to football, I was a decent athlete. I don't consider myself an extremely good athlete. I considered myself extremely hard-working. Were you ever discouraged from pursuing high-level academics while playing football at Penn State? I didn't get any pushback from my teammates. I did get some pushback from Penn State football early on. But I do want to clarify the sense in which I got pushback, because I think I got pushback in a very good way. It wasn't like they were saying, "Oh, John, this is going to take up way too much of your time." It was more of them saying, "John, let's not take such a hard track so early on. Let's move slow and steady, because college courses are a lot tougher than high school classes, and you think you are good at math from high school, but college is different." After my first full semester, the academic advisors really picked up on the fact that, yeah, they don't need to worry about me. There are brilliant young minds being born into this country, but either they're being born the wrong gender or the wrong color, or into a household that doesn't have the same opportunities as some other household. Do you think college athletes should be paid? Of course they should be paid. That's not an unbiased opinion. I'm extremely biased. Something is fundamentally wrong with the system. That's obvious. But what's the answer? I don't know. Should all sorts of football players be paid? Certainly not. I don't think the football players at, let's say, the University of Buffalo are being exploited. Sorry. Does this football program make money? But we look at the Alabamas of the world and, well, clearly these football players are really contributing a lot and they're the source of a great deal of revenue. How can we give them more? Because I do think they deserve more, but the right way to do it is sort of uncertain to me. What do mathematicians do? What a mathematician does is he uses the tools of mathematics to try to solve very complicated and important problems in this world. In some areas of mathematics, mathematicians try to solve fundamental ideas in physics. In some areas of mathematics, mathematicians are trying to understand and perfect those things in machine learning, which have great practical importance on our world. You have mathematicians who are working on Wall Street. The only thing they're making is money, but they're making quite a lot of it. Mathematicians work for Google. They work for Amazon. They're the people who help come up with the technology and the algorithms in your iPhone. How did the fear of concussions and the prospect of CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, factor into your decision to retire from the NFL? Very nominally. It is something you have to take into account, but the risks were something I had been aware of for a large part of my football career. But I also wanted to create more time for mathematics. I wanted to spend more time raising my daughter and I wanted to be in good overall physical health. You know, I want to be able to walk around when I am 60. Did you really live on $25,000 a year while playing pro football? Yeah, maybe even a little less than that. You're kidding me. How is that possible? I'm still a very frugal person, and frugal might not even be the right word. Even people around me will tell you, it's not like I'm attempting to save money. I don't do things like budget. I do the things I enjoy and I buy things that bring me joy. The things that bring me joy are typically like math books, maybe coffee at a coffee shop. Yeah, I guess luckily for me, both of those things are incredibly cheap. Baltimore Ravens offensive guard John Urschel blocks during a game against the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, in October 2016. Rich Gracel, Icon Sportswire. So, no bling for you. No big Land Rover. No, my car was a used Nissan Versa I bought in college. I kept it my whole career, although I'm not that sad to say I did let the Versa go because, well, I'm in Boston now. What do I need a car for? In what ways do you miss football? One of the things I do miss about football is being on a team, being close with a bunch of guys, going through the whole deal of pursuing a common goal. How do you replace the rush that you derive from football? Yeah, that's just something you can't replace. You're just not going to get that feeling from mathematics. As much as I love math, and there's many amazing, beautiful things about math, you're not getting that from mathematics. You're getting a very different feeling, but it's also quite amazing, this feeling of fighting against the unknown, this feeling of trying to go where no man has gone before, this idea of trying to solve problems that no one has solved before. Why are there so few African Americans in math? What's fire right now? A black neighborhood's complicated relationship with the home of Preakness Reed, No Ion Zion, Alvin Gentry. Pelicans go from tough year to our moment. Reed now black assistant coaches were scapegoats in the NCAA recruiting trials. Reed now you look at, let's say, all of the elite mathematicians at MIT, Stanford, Harvard, Caltech, Princeton, and maybe there's like 1 or 2 African Americans. It's not because these places have decided we just don't like hiring African American mathematicians. The fact is that there's just not many of us. And the root to this, I believe, is not anything that happens in PhD programs. The large part of the damage is done before a student even steps foot on a college campus. The large majority of American mathematicians in the United States, they're Caucasian, they're male, and they generally come from pretty good backgrounds. And I mean, it's a sobering realization that there are brilliant young minds being born into this country, but either they're being born the wrong gender or the wrong color, or being born into a household that doesn't have the same opportunities as some other household. And these brilliant minds are being lost. I do believe a large contributing factor is educational inequality. One final thing, would you allow a child of yours to play football? I would, in high school. But not before then. There's a big focus on college football players, NFL players, and health in a number of ways. But the thing that people don't talk about enough is young kids playing tackle football, contact football, before their bodies and brains are even developed. And that's something that me, personally, I'm not a fan of. But in high school, certainly. I think football is not for everyone, certainly not, but if it's something that you think you're interested in, I think it's an amazing sport. Michael A. Fletcher is a senior writer at The Undefeated. He is a native New Yorker and longtime Baltimorean who enjoys live music and theater. Let's block ads. Why?